I was born a rebel. I was born an activist. And to see a movement that is, in the words of Daniel Pipes, modern, democratic, humane, thinking, reasoning, literate, liberal, good neighborly, respectful of women, homosexuals, atheists, and everyone else, one that equally respects the rights of Muslims and non-Muslims. However, you will all appreciate that this is not an easy task. Why? Because of my gender. We live in times when a Muslim woman speaks out or is qualified to take a leadership role, she's called militant. There was an article written about me that said that militant Muslim woman. They also say I have too much direct eye contact for a Muslim woman. They don't know I can't see without my glasses on. So they say that if a Muslim woman speaks in ways expected of a woman, she's seen as an inadequate leader. If she speaks in ways expected of leaders, she's seen as an inadequate woman. However, we have a long history of Muslim women in leadership, and we are going to continue that for the next generations. I'm going to show you something which is going to hold your breath back, but please share with me why it's so important to have women in the forefront.
Saudi women aren't allowed to drive themselves to work or even to the doctor's office.
This is a young girl named Aja, and she was 14 and already had 2 children.
60% of women are still married as children, often at 9 or 10.
A 14-year-old girl alleged to have run away from a forced marriage.
The scars on this teenager's face are from an acid attack.
Her crime? Caught wearing trousers under her Islamic clothing.
For bringing shame to the family, her own husband cut off her nose and ears.
In Egypt, 97% of girls have endured some form of genital mutilation.
The World Health Organization estimates that between 100 and 140 million women have suffered genital mutilation.
More than 900 women died last year from honor killings in Pakistan.
A man Afghan officials say is a member of the Taliban shoots her dead at point-blank range.
Cases of honor violence are now being found in Europe, Canada, and the United States.
It's systematic discrimination, brutality.
We're talking kidnap, rape, abduction.
We had a case of stoning of a woman just last month.
I was 14 years old when my mother presented me with the photograph of the man I was promised to when I was 8 years old.
A friend of mine was arrested and sexually assaulted. This was somebody I care about very much who said to me, you have something to say. No matter how many times people tell you it's not legitimate, you have something to say and you must.
That is the crux of all the problem, because people are, slapped with these labels of being an Islamophobe, and people don't want to speak out.
And when you do dissent, you are threatened, you are bullied, you are intimidated, and that's happening here in the United States.
An Iranian women's rights activist was brutally gunned down just yards from her home.
My mother, when I started the organization, the first thing out of her mouth, she said, "You're going to get killed."
I've had fatwas, I've had death threats, I get hate mail.
The threats to rape you, burn your face with acid. I'm afraid all the time. But that doesn't mean you can't also be courageous.
From Bahrain to Egypt, women have raised their voices and their fists in demanding universal rights.
Women in Saudi Arabia campaigning for the right to drive.
It's very, very easy to break a twig or a stick. But when you bundle them together, you can't break that.
These dialogues are so important, and people should not be afraid to ask questions.
The continuation of this dialogue is in need to make the realization of the importance of women's voices, with the support of men and women, of other faiths, of other cultures, other communities, because without them we cannot make a change.
This 80-minute documentary is going to be released on International Women's Day next year, and I hope to invite you all back here to see the entire film. It has been an absolutely amazing experience. As Fahima so eloquently says in the end, we can't move ahead without the support of men and women from all faiths and cultures.